Hello, family of God. This is week 3 of the governor's shelter in place order for us out here in California. And I hope everybody's doing well with it. I know some people might be getting eager to get out. But again, like I said last week, this won't last forever. It's going to be over sometime soon. And in the midst of all of the bad news that we've been having lately, I do want to interrupt all the bad news to give you some good news. Let's welcome the King. This is the title of our sermon message this week. Welcome the King. The King is coming. Jesus Christ, King of Kings, Lord of Lords. And we're celebrating his coming to the world, his coming to Jerusalem, his coming to take over. And we have a song we'd like to start off with, and it's called In the Name of the Lord. Adam and Tina are going to help us as we sing.
Crowds have lined the narrow street to see this man from Galilee. Just a carpenter, some say, leading fools astray. And yet many kneel to give him praise. And in his eyes they've glimpsed the power to see through the hearts of all men. For he knows his Father's mind, he speaks his Father's words. For he comes in the name of the Lord. There is strength in the name of the Lord. There is power in the name of the Lord. There is hope in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And when my plans have fallen through, and when my strength is nearly gone, and when there's nothing left to do but just depend on you and the power of your name. And when we call upon your name, your strength through weakness is shown. For we know the Master's plans extend the Master's hands when we come in the name of the Lord. For there is strength in the name of the Lord. There is power in the name of the Lord. There is hope in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. For there is strength in the name of the Lord. There is power in the name of the Lord. There is hope in the name of the Lord. Blessed is he who comes. Blessed is he who comes. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
Amen. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. I'd like to start off by reading The passage, Matthew chapter 21, verses 1 through about 9, and it says, "And when they neared Jerusalem, having arrived at Bethphage on Mount Olives, Jesus sent 2 disciples with these instructions: Go over to the village across from you. You'll find a donkey tethered there, her colt with her. Untie her and bring them to me. If anyone asks you what you're doing, just say, 'The Master needs them. He will send them with you.' This is a full story of what was sketched earlier by the prophet. Tell Zion's daughter, 'Look, your king's on his way, poised and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, a foal of a pack animal.'" The disciples went and did exactly what Jesus told them to do. They led the donkey and colt and laid on some of their clothes on them, and Jesus mounted. Nearly all the people in the crowd threw their garments down on the road, giving him a royal welcome. Others cut branches from the trees and threw them down as a welcome mat. Crowds went ahead and crowds followed, all of them calling out, "Hosanna to David's son. Blessed is he who comes in the name of, in God's name. Hosanna in highest heaven." As he made his entrance into Jerusalem, the whole city was shaken, unnerved, and people were asking, "What's going on here? Who is this?" The parade crowd answered, "This is a prophet Jesus, the one from Nazareth in Galilee." And you'll see that Jesus went into the temple and he began to set things straight. And so I just want to share with you briefly about what his coming has done and what his coming will do. You know, when politicians are running for office, a president or the governor, they like to talk about their plan for the first 100 days in office. This plan is meant to show the candidates' priorities and intentions to enact the promises made in the campaign. The first 100 days represent the honeymoon period, the time when people are most accepting of new ideas and changes, the best time to put their words into action. Jesus' royal entry into Jerusalem announced that he was coming as king and he was ready to implement his plan. Zechariah 9:9 says, "Rejoice greatly, O people of Zion. Shout in triumph, O people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, yet he is humble, riding on a donkey's colt." This should have been a glorious coronation of Christ as king of his holy nation. But instead, he found a national religion out of step with the God they purported to worship. Now, as he came into the city, he went straight to the temple to survey the condition of things. Here's what he observed: noise, noise, noise from animals in booths waiting to be sold to pilgrims who lived too far away from Jerusalem to bring their own animals for sacrifice. Noise, noise from money changers in the temple as they bartered with pilgrims on the exchange rate for the temple tax. Noise, noise from the negotiators as they bought and sold merchandise on the temple grounds. And he also heard silence, silence from the worshipers. Actually, not much worship happening at all, since everyone seemed intent on making and saving money. He went back to the place he was staying for the night, but on the next day, Jesus came back to the temple and started setting things in order. He overturned the money changers' tables and told them to get out. He drove the animals out of the temple as well as the people who were selling them. He proclaimed to the people, "My house shall be called the house of prayer, a place to commune with God, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." He gave his disciples a lesson in faith also. Now, while considering the conquest of Jericho, Joshua walked near the city to consider how to attack it. When he got there, he saw what looked like a man with his sword drawn. Being the warrior that he was, Joshua asked the man, "Are you with us, or are you on the other side?" The man answered no to both parts of the question. He had come as a captain of the Lord's army. He had not come to join sides. He had come to take over. Jesus went to Jerusalem to take over, and that's exactly what he did. Jesus has come into this world to take over as well. Daniel described him as a stone cut out of a mountain without hands. This stone struck the symbol of the kingdoms of this world at their foundation and brought it all crashing down and crumbling into indistinguishable pieces. Then the stone became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This stone is Jesus, who has not come to join up with some earthly kingdom or organization. Just as he told Joshua long ago, I did not come to take sides, I have come to take over. He is taking over today, peacefully, to those who believe in him and by faith ask him to come in. His name is on everyone's mind these days. Christians all over the world are praying, Lord, take over and bring us through. And he will, when the time is right. On the way to Jerusalem that morning, Jesus saw a fig tree with leaves and reached in to see if any fruit was on it. Finding nothing but leaves, he cursed the tree, saying, nothing will ever grow on you again. On the way back home that same day, the disciples noticed the tree that Jesus had cursed that morning was already withered. Jesus told them, if you have faith and do not doubt, you can do this also. You can speak to unfruitful things in your life and have them dried up. You can speak to great obstacles in your life and have them removed. Whatever you ask when you pray, and that's restoring a right relationship with God, if you believe, you will receive. So what should our response be to all this? The psalmist in Psalm 24:7 says, look up, you gates. Rise up, you eternal doors, then the majestic King will enter. Who is this King? The Lord who is strong and mighty. The Lord who is mighty in battle. Look up, you gates. Rise up, you eternal doors, then the majestic King will enter. Who is this majestic King? The Lord of heaven's armies. He is the majestic King, Selah. And this should be our reaction, to open up and to allow him to come in, because Jesus has a plan for your life. It's probably not a 100-day plan like the presidents and governors. This one will span your whole life. Welcome the King, the Lord of light, the King of glory. Accept his offer to put your life in order. Allow him to speak to the unproductive things in your life and bring them up and dry them up. Traits that look good on the outside but have no real substance on the inside. Allow him to remove the obstacles that keep you from being fruitful because you don't know how to get around them or through them. Watch him resurrect your faith. Look up, you gates. Rise up, you eternal doors. Then the majestic King, the King of heaven's armies, will come in and change your life. God bless you all. God keep you, and may his face shine upon you. Amen. Now, you would join us as we sing the victory chant. Hail Jesus, you're my King.
Hail Jesus, you're my King.
Your life frees me to sing.
Your life frees me to sing.
And I will praise you all my days.
And I will praise you all my days.
You're perfect in all your ways.
You're perfect in all your ways.
Hail Jesus, you're my Lord.
Hail Jesus, you're my Lord.
I will obey your word.
I will obey your word.
I want to see your kingdom come.
I want to see your kingdom come.
Not my will, but yours be done.
Not my will, but yours be done.
Glory, glory to the Lamb.
Glory, glory me to the land.
You'll take me into the land.
You'll take me into the land.
We will conquer in your
We will conquer in
name.
your name.
And proclaim that Jesus reigns.
And proclaim that Jesus reigns.
So hail, hail, Lion of Judah.
Hail, hail, Lion of Judah.
How wonderful you are.
How wonderful you are.
Hail, hail, Lion of Judah.
Hail, hail, Lion of Judah.
How powerful you are.
How powerful you are.
How wonderful you are.
How wonderful you are.
How powerful you are.
How powerful